Chapter 9, Lesson 3. So this is the last video on this chapter. Let me know if you have any questions of what we go through now. So why are different file types needed? So we were talking about file types in the previous video. So let's go through these. So you get different file types because it helps you to know the correct software to use. So if you know that the file type that you're working with ends in .ppt, you know that this is going to be a file that can be opened in a PowerPoint presentation software. So you'll know what software to use for that file, so that the user knows what the file may contain from the file extension. So if you see a file that ends in .mp4, this will tell you that this is a video file. Alright, so it helps you to know what is contained in the file. So that searching and sorting files can be done effectively. If you're looking for a Word document, you can just search for .doc, because that is a common Word document file, and the computer will find all the .doc files. So in your computer, with the search bar, you just type .doc, and it will find, hopefully, every .doc file on your computer for you, so that the operating system can display an appropriate icon. So if you have, again, a .ppt file, so it's a PowerPoint presentation type of file, then the computer will display the most appropriate icon, which, if you have Microsoft PowerPoint, will be the PowerPoint icon. Okay. Number 5, so that it's easier to open the appropriate application. So if you double click on the file, the computer will open the most appropriate program for the file format. So if you have .doc on your computer, if you double click on that file, and you have Microsoft Word, it will open up Microsoft Word, for example, for that file. It will open up the most appropriate file for that format. So explain the use of index sequential access. So index sequential access, these files store records one after another but are sorted in order based on a field. So index sequential access, okay, indexed sequential access, is basically a way to access records from a file. Okay, so you'll have, for example, a file which contains all the information of certain employees, and then this index sequential access is just a method to access information in this file. The file has an index based on a field that is used to sort the file. So here's an example. A database may be made up of employees which are maybe ordered according to the surname of the employees. The computer can, instead of searching through all the records from the start, jump to employee's surname that starts with the surname you are looking for. For example, if you're looking for Mr. Smith's records, the computer can jump to Mr. Simon's record first. Maybe Mr. Simon is the first surname that starts with the letter S, if it is sorted according to their surnames, and then run through the record sequentially from there. So sequential access, it just means it goes in order. It has to go through each record one after another. But because this information is indexed, it has points that it can jump to and then start looking through the records one after another from there. So for example, for Mr. Smith, it doesn't have to start from the person whose surname starts with A. It doesn't have to start from the beginning of that file. But what it can do, because it picks up that Mr. Smith starts with an S, it can jump to the first person whose surname starts with S. So that's Mr. Simons, for example, in this last bullet. And then it will start looking through every record after Mr. Simon's record until it finds Mr. Smith's record. That is kind of how index sequential access works. Explain the use of direct file access. So the two file types of access that you are working with in your textbook, okay, is index sequential access, and now this is the other type, which is direct file access. So this is where records are stored in random order. It's not sorted by any field. When storing a file, a hashing algorithm, a calculation, is performed in the key field to determine the storage address where the record should be stored. Then when the record is searched for, the same hashing algorithm can be performed in the key field to determine where the record can be found. The computer system can then jump directly to that record without having to read other records. So when information is stored in this type of system, direct file access system, there is a key field. So for an employee, for example, there might be some employer ID. Alright, so what will happen is a hashing algorithm, which is a calculation. This can be some mathematical equation or formula that is used by the computer to produce the address where the information is going to be stored for this person, for example. So then every time you want to access the record for that person, the hashing algorithm will be performed on the key field, and then the result that it gets from that calculation will be the storage address where that information is kept. Then the computer can jump to that location. Okay, it doesn't have to go through records in an order like we saw in sequential access or index sequential access. Here it can literally jump, when it has a storage address from the hashing algorithm, it can jump to that address immediately without going through one record after another. Let me know if that makes any sense, if you need any help with that. What is a hierarchical database management system? Alright, so this is a model that relies upon a tree structure. Each parent branch is one side of a relationship, and each child branches that follow underneath, is the many side of a relationship. It works in a one-to-many relationship and in one direction. Okay, so you'll see in the next slide what this looks like. So it's pretty much working downwards, and you will always have pretty much one parent at the very top. So we'll just go through these bullets quick and I'll show you an example. A file system is an example of a hierarchical database management system. So a file system on your computer, you have a C drive, and in that C drive you have many other folders, and within each folder are other folders and files. So that is an example of this type of system. Data at the top of the system is accessed the fastest in the system. So usually it starts looking for information from the top, and it tries to work its way through the branches until it gets to where it needs to find the data. So if the data is closer to the top of the branch, or to the top of the tree structure, the faster it's going to be to get that information. So here's an example. So this could be like a file system in your computer. You can start with this PC, and then within this PC, that shortcut, there's going to be your documents or pictures folder, and within these, so this should actually be, let's say, this part over here, Adams folder, Paul's folder, Candace's folder, that should actually be connected to documents, for example. So this should not be in the middle, it should be connected to this block here. Sorry about that. So within documents, you would have Adams folder, Paul's folder, Candace's folder, and then maybe within Adam's folder, you'll have his homework folder that he's made where he keeps all his work for school. So this is a tree type structure. And you can see for each document for Adam's folder, there can be many different types of folders within Adam's folder. And this is in one direction. It's going from the top down. Okay. So if you wanted to access something which was in the documents folder, okay, so let's say if it wasn't in one of these three folders, but it was some file, like homework 1 or something, that Paul has stored in documents, then it will be faster going from this PC to documents and finding that file there, than if it had to go through this PC, documents, and then going into Paul's folder and then finding the homework file in there. So the nearer to the top of the branch your file is, the faster it can access it. So what is the Management Information System, or MIS? This provides summary information to managers to enable them to make decisions. So this section is very short in your textbook as well. They're very brief about it. So we're just going to go through it roughly. It collects data from the database and outputs it in the form of graphs and reports. These reports and graphs can be produced in the database system, or they can be part of an additional piece of software that is used to analyze the data. Examples can be billing systems or payroll systems. So these systems, whatever software has been designed for them, these systems can basically analyze information and output charts and reports and any information that managers need to make important decisions. Okay, so this is a very brief section. But let me know if you have any questions. So there's still another slide coming up. Features of this type of system. Data is collected from databases and other sources. Data is interconnected from different sources. Data is analyzed to provide the data required by the management team. Summary reports and charts are produced for managers that will help them with decision making. So pretty much this whole process is analyzing data to help people make a decision. That's the purpose, mainly from our textbook point of view, of an MIS system. So just an example, and then we're done. So let's say you're having a marketing campaign. So marketing managers can analyze how effective a marketing campaign was by comparing sale figures during a marketing campaign with the sale figures when there was no marketing campaign. So you'll have the marketing campaign, you'll then after a while get the figures or produce charts or reports of your sale figures, and then what they'll do, this will help them decide whether or not to run similar marketing campaigns in the future. So if they sold more products when there was this marketing campaign, which they can actually visually see by the charts and the reports that are outputted by the system, then if it was successful, then they know, okay, we'll make or have more marketing campaigns in the future because they seem to help raise the sale figures. I hope that was right. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.